What's going on, my PT peeps, my fighters, and my From fans? I'm One Eye Bry, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about From Season 2, Episode 5, and is Fear the Key. Spoiler warning for all things From. So Season 2, Episode 5 is another good episode. I know it's a little slower episode, and it's definitely a setup episode. And I'm hoping that it's a big-time thing coming in the next couple episodes, because we're waiting for answers, and we still haven't got them yet, but it's still a good episode nonetheless. Let me know your thoughts, post your comments below. So Randall is sleeping in the bus, and it starts with him there, and there's so many people around the bus, creatures, monsters around the bus, and they're tapping on it, and you can't sleep, and it's probably annoying, but I think Randall is essential here because he does not show fear to the 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 5 or 6 of them outside the bus, and they don't come in because they had the talisman, which we know, right? There's been some debate about the talismans on this channel, but ultimately Randall doesn't open the bus door, which is smart because he would be ripped to shreds, and he basically tells them that he's not afraid. So they leave. So the question is, why did they leave? Because Randall's not afraid, or because they realize that he's not going to open the bus and they can't rip him apart? So the other question is if you look at the creatures, the monsters, whatever you want to call these things, their clothes look to be in great shape. Yeah, they're a little dirty and whatever. They've been around here since, 40s, 50s. Like, what are these people from? What's going on here? We still don't know. But this guy looks pretty immaculate. And if you've been ripping people apart for many years, where's the blood stains? Where's the grime? Where's the gore? Where are the guts? Where's the blood? Where's anything on there, right? Looks pretty much immaculate. Somebody was talking about the Maytag repairman. Are they scrubbing the clothes clean underneath the town? Like, oh, all right, it's almost time, guys. How much time we got left? Yep, let's make sure our clean clothes are ready, good to go before we go rip people apart. But Randall says he's not afraid, and he's like, peace, see ya, we'll be back. And the other thing, Randall's on top of the bus at the end of the episode, carving something out of wood. Is it a weapon? Is it something? What is it? I don't know. I can't wait to see. And again, it's a nice setup episode, which drives some people crazy because there's been more setup episodes than answers. But I'm hoping, because it's going to be 10 episodes, that this episode is the last setup episode, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, we should get some answers. But nonetheless, I'm excited to see how it goes down. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below as always. And it seems like this creature checks her watch, which is kind of funny. They were shaking hands, checking watches, talking to you, and they're out. What are these actual creatures? Are they aliens? There's some debate for that for sure. Then we see Jade is not sleeping well, and he looks at the photo, and he's really being consumed by this town, the symbols, and it's making him go crazy. He's sleep deprived, he's not doing well, but his photo is driving him insane. Which is what I believe happened to this guy right here. He actually sees him in the room, which was kind of funny when he opens up the book and then blood starts to drip down. It looked kind of cheesy in my opinion. But the fact that, I don't know this guy's name, but he's in the photo with Victor. And Victor knows this guy. So Victor saw this guy. Now Jade sees this guy. Just like the ventriloquist puppet. Jade saw it, but also Victor saw it. So there's some connection here. Not sure if the symbol's going to ever give us true meaning, but the blood dripping down looked just kind of funny and cheesy, in my opinion. And I think Jade is probably the funniest character on the show. And he's like not trying to be funny, but it just comes across as a pompous, opinionated tech guy, rich guy, but he's trying to figure it out, and he's not there yet. So Boyd is sleeping in the church, and he was probably hiding there. I had to note when they were banging on the door, there's no lock on this door. Where do you see a lock? It's just a handle there. I believe that's a talisman hanging there next to the door. So I guess as long as the door is closed, it's good. So Sarah is hiding in the church with Boyd. Boyd tells her to go hide, and she scurries away. And you see Tabitha and Jim come in, and they're pissed. They know that she's here because Kenny is going around telling everybody what's going on. And I wonder what's going to happen with Kenny and Sarah and Elgin, because I could see Kenny going off the deep end and using that gun he has and actually shooting someone. Maybe Sarah gets injured or killed, or, Elgin. We'll have to see. But Tabitha is pissed, and it's understandable. Sarah is still alive, went after Ethan. They live in the same town. You can't leave the area, so she's a danger. How do you know Sarah's not going to go after Ethan again? But Sarah comes out, and I kind of feel bad for Sarah, but I don't at the same time. It's one of those, quandaries where you're like, okay, Sarah killed her brother, tried to kill Ethan, left the door open, killed Kenny's dad, but Sarah didn't do it maliciously. She was being ordered to do it. She listened to the creatures, whoever's pulling the strings, and she was afraid, so she did it. Tabitha says, if you see my son again, or come near my son again, or do anything, I will kill you. She's Mama Bear. Don't mess with her family. Everyone leaves the church. Sarah stays there, but eventually she walks around the town, and it's kind of weird. Like, I guess no one's just going to kill her, but we'll have to see what happens. I thought she's going to be put in the box, and maybe she still will, but not in this episode. So we see Ethan is scared. He's in his room because he's afraid that Sarah's going to go after him. It's understandable. Jim talks about their Cromonocle or something, their little lore and stuff they're talking about. And Ethan comes out and he says that he wants to go talk to Sarah. It's pretty good. It's pretty, strong that he's like, look, I'm going to go there, face my fears and handle it. Fear was definitely a topic in this episode. It was mentioned numerous times. We see Mari and Christy. I think it's Christy, but I think it's like Marielle, but she goes by Mari. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments if it's wrong. Then we see the shirt, the Gerhardt shirt. That's like a trucking company thing like that takes a connection back with Christy. And then Christy gets a terrible haircut that she looks much better here, but the haircut she gets from Mari is not a good look. But it's a nice gesture that she has a shirt for Christy. Then we see that Sarah goes back to the house and sees the shirt that was her brother's. It's sad because Sarah is a complicated character. How do you feel about Sarah? Do you feel like she's misunderstood or it's justified? Because I see both sides of it, but she's definitely, she killed people in town. That's not going to go well with the townspeople because, these people, the guy kind of understood, but the girl was really mean to Sarah. And Sarah leaves and runs out of there. Then we see Jade is making the symbol out of bottles. And I'm not sure what you're going to get out of it. Like, what do the symbols represent? Or the symbol represent? And why is Jade the only one that sees it? Victor comes into the bar and says, look, I need your help. He needs Jade to play the violin. And Victor is, of course, an important character, and I think Jade is going to be as well. But we're still waiting for answers, and Victor kind of gives some answers in this episode, not enough, where I'm like, wow. But I think Jade plays like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star that calms, Victor down and makes him feel better. Tabitha and Jim talk about what to do. Ethan wants to confront Sarah, and, there's stuff that happens in the episode. It's not a boring episode where nothing happens at all. It kind of feels that way to a lot of people because there was no blood and gore and creatures ripping apart people, but some stuff started to happen. Again, it's a major setup episode. It's the midway point of the season. Donna and Boyd talk. I love Donna. She don't mess around. She's like, look, maybe you should talk to her. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. Is it really about this? Is it really about that? No, it's about Abby. It's about here. She don't mess around, and I love that about her. So Sarah knows about the box of stuff that was hers and I guess her brother's. So she knows to go to the diner to talk to Kenny's mom, and Kenny leaves. He doesn't look to his right to see Sarah, but either way, Ethan goes to talk to Sarah, and he's like, look, monsters live in the woods. So basically, you're a terrible person, Sarah. He hates you, and you're a monster. Go live in the woods. But he's not afraid of you. And he gives that face. And again, it comes up several times in the episode. And then he drops the mic and he walks out and he's like, peace, you're dead to me. Later. So Jim comes up with the conclusion later on in the episode about people are pulling the strings here. And what if it's all by design? Which I think there's something to that. So Jade and Victor go into the middle of nowhere. And Victor moved all these cars over the years. I'm guessing if you took a shot from the sky, it would look like the symbol that Jade is seeing. But that's just a hunch, just a guess right now. There's no way to tell. But it kind of looks like the cars are positioned in a way that we could see that. We see Victor's mom's car. It's a station wagon. And then we see that the guy's car that I think Jade is turning into. I think this place basically to me is a terrible spot. And if everybody worked together, they would survive. But they're not. This place is all about fear and making you break down and turn on each other and freak out. And, as Jade plays his violin and Victor calms down, it's a nice little moment, but we don't get that much out of this scene. But we see Elgin goes to the church and he's going to go here because he thought by himself, but Sarah's here. And Elgin has a thing for Sarah. He kind of like, I would have noticed you. I would have recognized you. I would definitely remember you. But Elgin and Sarah have a nice moment. And it's cool because Elgin has no idea who Sarah is and what she did. And Sarah's like, okay, this is nice. It's a nice conversation. But then it ends with, I killed my brother, and the town people will tell you what exactly happened. And my guess is that Kenny is never going to get over the fact what Sarah did, which he probably shouldn't. I understand that. But Elgin doesn't know what Sarah really did besides what people are saying, what she said, and he kind of likes her. We saw that here. And Sarah, I think is going to be in trouble with Kenny. I think Elgin's going to step in and stuff's going to happen, but we'll see what Kenny actually does. I think that he's going to kill Elgin, but we'll have to see, what actually happens. But that's just a guess right now. But Ethan and Jim come back and they're like, hey, you did a great job. You said what you said to Sarah. Let's go peel some potatoes. I'm surprised they didn't want to go make some tea, right? It's always tea. I was going to make some tea. Hey, you want some tea? Let's make some tea. But we see that Ethan and Julie go into the house, and then Tabitha looks at the Unashuk or whatever I believe it's called, and she thinks about those kids that are dressed in white. More on that later. And definitely what they're calling her, which again, no answers, more questions, but we're getting there. Then we go into the diner, and it's Kenny's mom and Sarah have a face-to-face. And again, stuff happened. It's not like nothing happened in here. We had stuff resolution for it. Sarah went around the town, met with a bunch of people, and we're getting stuff there that happened to progress the story. This is the halfway point of the season, so I think they did a good job so far. I know people are saying it's kind of slow, but Kenny's mom gets the box of stuff and says, here, get this stuff and go. I don't want to see you again. You took him from me, meaning your husband, and it's just a shame that it happened this way, but what happens next is what we care about with Sarah and the town. But Sarah leaves the diner, and, she was a big part here. She used to work here. She was connected with this place, and she had a life, and now that's all gone. But as she's leaving the diner, Kenny sees her, and he's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And he grabs the box and dumps all her stuff out, and it's like a bully mindset. It's a bully part here. And I understand why Kenny's doing it. He's hurting, so he wants to hurt Sarah. So he takes her stuff and dumps it out and causes problems. And it just felt a little awkward. Like, I understand what's going on here, but where's Sarah going to stay? In the church? Like, what's going to happen to her? And is she ever going to go in the box? We'll have to see what happens there with the creatures and the monsters. So Kenny grabs the snowman, and they talked about the little ornament things here previously. And he's like, yeah, you see this? Does this give meaning to you? This snowman right here? Well, you know what I'm going to do. Whoa-bah! And he slams it into the ground and breaks it. And it's like, oh, man, come on, right? And Sarah doesn't fight back, and she knows she's in the wrong for what she did. And we understand what Kenny's coming from, but also you see Sarah's side a little bit there too, or don't you? Are you on Kenny's side or Sarah's side, or what? I'm kind of curious what people are thinking when they watch it, when we saw Kenny and Sarah fight multiple times in the episode. But as she's boxing up her stuff, Elgin comes over and helps her. And everybody looks on, and it's awkward. And, I feel bad for Sarah because she's the town outcast. But she can't leave because where's she going to go? So we'll have to see what the resolution of this is. Does Sarah just have to die ultimately? Because it's kind of a wasted connection with this world with, the stuff in her arm communicating. Or is that done now? Is that going to happen again? So then we see Christy and her fiance, and it's 11:11 on the clock. Make a wish. And Christy is getting a terrible haircut. It's kind of like Maggie getting the terrible haircut from Enid on The Walking Dead. But it just looks bad. It just looks like a female bowl cut. Like it's like a Jadis cut from The Walking Dead. And Christy's like, I love it. But do you really love it? Or do you have to be like, yeah, I love it because my fiance did it. So she's like, yeah, this is terrible. And I think it looks pretty bad. She looked better before. Then this lady comes around. And she seems to know everything. She's like the town gossip. She goes around the neighborhood. Hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Hey, did you hear about Boyd? He's back now. I knew you were back. Hey, he's not there. Yeah, Sarah's back. It's kind of crazy around here. So this lady is walking around with morphine, liquid morphine. And I'm guessing because she has cancer or she's dying, like some terminal disease. So morphine is there to numb the pain and to make you feel better. So if you notice, Mari is listening very closely, and she looks and she sees about the liquid morphine. So later on, she takes some of it, and that's what she drinks out of the locked up medicine cabinet. So Mari is a drug addict, I'm guessing. So she looks like, you can tell she clearly knows what's going on there. And the old lady tells what was happening on outside, that Sarah is back, even though she doesn't know Sarah, but she knows what's going around. And as she, spills the beans, basically, she's again the town gossip. Christy decides to change her clothes and run out of the, medical house. But as she runs, again, it's more awkward running. She's better than Julie, but she runs weird. Like her running pattern is just kind of funny. And Mari runs after her, and they try to figure out what's going on. And, again, the town people know Sarah and know what's going on, but the bus people are getting filled in. And at some point, where everyone's going to be caught up, let's progress the story. And I hope that's next week's episode, but we'll have to see. But Christy is pissed because Sarah basically lied to her and set everything up, leaving the door open. And then back to Jade and Victor. So Victor tells Jade some stuff. Not much, nothing of significance, but he talks about the guy in the photo and how he was funny and he made people laugh, but then not so much. And we see his car, and then Jade looks at the car. And I think what I got out of this is that Jade is becoming that guy. Like when something is on your mind so much, you can't let it go. It becomes all encompassing. It takes over your whole mindset and mentality. It drives you insane. And I think that's what's happening to Jade. Victor basically says that the guy was happy and he was good and he helped everybody out, and then it overtook him. It didn't really help him anymore. And the same thing's happening to Jade. So hopefully Jade can not do that, because I think he's hilarious, and hopefully sticks around for a long, long time. At least makes it out to this season. I believe the word is that we're getting a third season, and they're highlighting the car, and you just see that Jade is going down a similar path, and that's what this place does. It drives you insane if you let it, because you're looking for answers that may never come. Maybe like the show, right? We're waiting for answers. So we see Tabitha set up the Unashuk, and she's like, I'm here. So don't set this up and expect for stuff to happen to you if you're not prepared for it. So she waits around the cave, and it's kind of weird if you think about it. She hasn't told anybody, not Jim or anybody that we know of, about the cave and the monsters with Victor. Right? Did she? It's like, just talk about information. But as she waits around, she says, I'm here, and then it's creepy. These 4 kids come out of the woods, and they call her Angui, Angkui, Angkui, Angkui. And we're like, what does that mean? What does that word mean? And we're trying to figure it out. And I saw people talking about it. Is it made up? Are they saying help, help? Are they calling her mother? It's interesting that Tabitha lost a child, Thomas, and now she has these 4 kids coming to her. Now, I don't think they're attacking her. I think they're looking to her and trying to come to her for help. Like they're looking to her like, help us, help us, help us. I think that's what Angkui is trying to mean. Because they're not like savagely ripping her apart. They're just kind of getting closer and closer and closer, and then touching her and looking for help. They're not hugging her or looking for love and affection. And again, they're also not ripping her apart. And these kids are here, and then they're gone. So it's interesting because they're all in white, like the kid in white, the child in white, but they look way worse. They look like nothing like the other kid that's helping Victor and Ethan, but they're dressed in white and they're in rough shape with the hair. Like it just doesn't look right. Like they were test subjects, and Jim even talks about World War II and stuff. So again, they're just like touching her, and then she freaks out because these weird, creepy kids are touching her, and then she goes down and she gets scared, and then the kids are gone. Where'd they go? And why did they show up to her, and only her, and now why is her nose bleeding? I don't know, right? And then Jade comes out of the woods and says, you okay? Are you okay? You're okay? And he can't see anything, and talks about her nose bleeding, and not much else comes from it. And again, it's setting things up. Like, if you think about all the different setups here, you got Victor and Jade, the symbol, Tabitha and the kids, Boyd and the town, Kenny and Sarah, Randall and the bus. It's just like so many different things that they can open up different stories with it. And there's a bunch of openings. We need some answers. But Randall's a capable guy, and he takes out the row of seats in his new house, his new home. He's converting the bus, and he's safe in there, so he's good to go. I don't know how he's going to eat and whatever, but he's going to probably make it more accommodating. Boyd looks out and figures out what is he doing, what's going on with this place, right? But we'll have to see what happens with this. And then Jim comes to talk to Boyd. And it's interesting because Jim talks about maybe this place by design and who's watching them and the tower. And he also says there's been experiments and stuff like this going all the way back to World War II, which was in the 40s, which was interesting because this place is like the people are dressed up in the 40s or the 50s, right? Like this diner. And when the music plays, the worms go crazy in Boyd's arms. Or arm, I guess, right? It's in his one arm. And what's the connection there? And when Kelly was having her headache and she was freaking out when Boyd showed up, she talked about, did you hear that? Do you hear that? And she was talking about music, I guess, too, right? And then Boyd showed up, and then he's in the diner, and then the music starts playing randomly in there. Like, who's controlling the music? And why is it bothering Boyd's worms? We just don't know. Again, we're seeing more stuff, and we're waiting for answers. It just isn't answered yet. And they can't give all the answers, I understand, and they have to wait there. But as long as it's answered at some point, I'm happy with that. So then we go and we see, a little montage of stuff. We see Christy looking at her terrible haircut and her shirt. She's like, man, I look good. This is great. The oversized shirt and the bad haircut. Man, she's looking great. Then we see her fiance going to the locked up medicine cabinet, and there's a lot of medicine in here, and we thought something was up previously because she was going through it when she was caught by Tabitha when Tabitha was looking for Jim, and confirms the theory and the idea and the speculation that she's a drug addict. So she takes the morphine out, and she takes a big long, I guess, syringe of it. I mean, she's not measuring it, she don't care, so she's like, and then she takes a nice drink of that, and I don't know why you're doing that. You're just trying to numb the pain and feel whatever, or feel no pain, feel nothing. I don't know. But either way, that explains a little bit more about that character. Then we see Jade is throwing darts at the picture of the symbol that he drew, or the symbols that he drew there, and he's throwing dart after dart at the board. So I wonder what's going to happen with the symbol. Like, what does it mean anyway? Who cares about it, right? It's not going to open up a portal and a gateway to get out of there, or is it? And if you think about it, this place is pretty great. You got no bills, you got electricity, you got food, you got people, you got resources. You're safe, but you can't leave, so it drives you insane. Then we see Ethan setting up his Unashuk again, and Sarah's walking around, and she's an outcast, and people hate it. I don't know where she put her box of stuff, but I guess it's back into the church. And as she's walking through the neighborhood, she sees Ethan, and she smiles at him. But Ethan's like, I don't care about you. Remember what I said? You're a monster. Well, he doesn't say anything. He just looks at her and gives her the, look of, I hate your guts. Keep walking. Get out of here. Because he's not afraid. When most kids would be afraid to run away and hide inside. But he's not. So we see the town and everything. It's a small little town, and I just found out recently that this show is filmed in Nova Scotia, which is pretty cool, and it's gated off. You can only get so close, but you see the bus and the colony house. But then you see Randall on top of the bus with the red toolbox. Stands out. Red, all I see is red. And he's carving something out of wood. You don't really see what it is, but I'm guessing he's going to leave the chair up here and he's going to leave the seats. But what's he doing here? Not sure if he's going to try to attack the creatures and monsters, or if he's going to do something worth noting, but they focused on it. So I think Randall, being the fearless guy, is going to be, he's probably going to die, but I wonder if he's going to open up some story that's going to, change things. And I hope we get answers. And I think Randall's going to be a guy that can do that. But if you look at it, he's carving a big piece of wood, and it doesn't look like it's a weapon. It just looks like it's smooth. But is it another talisman or a symbol or what? But Kenny's mom comes out of the back in the diner, and she sees Boyd, and Boyd and Kenny's mom are going to have a conversation. And I'm sure the trust is going to be broken between Kenny Kenny's mom, and Boyd, because Boyd didn't say anything. He knew this information and didn't tell them. So the trust is probably gone, and it's probably going to be too little too late when they try to get it back. But we'll have to see what the repercussions are between Boyd and the town, Kenny's mom, and the town, and that's how the episode ends. So I saw this before online and I shared it previously, but episode 6 is coming up this Sunday, and the person wrote, I know some people are getting antsy, so I just wanted to put this out there. Episode 6 answers a big question, a question we've been wanting to know the answer to since season 1. It's going to lead to more questions, of course, but it's the biggest answer on the show we've seen thus far, and episode 7 further explores this answer, so just hold tight. All right, so we're going to hold tight. So 6 and 7 should be awesome. Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Like, share, subscribe, support the PT channel when you can. But either way, guys, I want to know your thoughts about the stuff I talked about. Thank you, guys. Either way, stay safe. And as always, tell them, Daryl.
Yo, we love you guys.